This book will teach you mental discipline, master your mind. Introduction, the battlefield of the mind. 2 means. What if I told you that everything standing between the life you have and the life you want comes down to one thing? Not talent, not intelligence, not even luck, but discipline, mental discipline. This book is not your ordinary self-help guide. It doesn't promise hacks or shortcuts. Instead, it delivers truth. You will not win in life until you win in your mind. Welcome to This Book Will Teach You Mental Discipline. Master Your Mind. A no-nonsense, practical, and powerful manual designed to help you develop an unbreakable mental framework. A system that teaches you how to control your thoughts, emotions, and habits, especially when it's most difficult. In a world that encourages comfort, distraction, and short-term pleasure, this book teaches you how to think with strength, act with clarity, and stay focused on your purpose, no matter the chaos around you. Chapter 1. Why Mental Discipline Matters. 5 mins. Mental discipline is the ability to override emotion, impulse, and fear. It's the inner power that allows you to stay calm in chaos, focused in failure, and committed in fatigue. Think of the great achievers in life: athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, warriors. What do they have in common? They can keep going when others quit. They don't allow doubt, distraction, or discomfort to control them. That's not luck. That's discipline. We've been told to follow our passion, do what feels good, and seek happiness. But here's the truth. You need discipline when you don't feel like waking up early. You're tempted to break your diet. You want to quit a long-term project because it's hard. Discipline makes decisions for you before your feelings can sabotage them. And here's a secret. You don't need more motivation. You need systems and identity. Motivation is temporary. Discipline is trained. Chapter 2. The Culture of Comfort. The modern world is designed to weaken your discipline. Think about it. One tap gets you entertainment. One click brings you food. One scroll gives you dopamine. We've become addicted to stimulation, and this culture of comfort has eroded mental resilience. The book argues that comfort is killing your greatness. Why? It lowers your threshold for pain. It makes boredom feel unbearable. It convinces you that hard things aren't worth doing, but discomfort is the gateway to growth. This chapter challenges you to look at your habits. How many hours do you spend numbing your mind with noise? How often do you delay hard tasks because they feel unpleasant? Are you living life for momentary ease, while your purpose dies in silence? Mental discipline isn't just about resisting temptations. It's about retraining your brain to choose challenge over comfort. Growth doesn't come from ease. It comes from effort, from endurance, from daily war with the weaker parts of you. Chapter 3. Identity is everything you will never outperform the story you believe about yourself. This chapter dives deep into one of the most overlooked truths in psychology. Behavior follows identity. If you see yourself as someone who always gives up, you'll keep doing it. But if you change your internal narrative, if you start believing I am a person of mental discipline, then your brain and body begin to act accordingly. Start with identity-based declarations. I am disciplined. I don't negotiate with my excuses. I do what's required, not what's comfortable. Don't just act like a disciplined person. Be one. Wake up early not because you have to, but because that's who you are. Skip distractions not because you fear failure, but because focus is your identity. The author shares a powerful framework here. Decide who you want to become. Take one small action that aligns with that identity. Repeat it daily until it becomes instinct. For example, want to be a focused person? Start with 30 minutes of deep work daily. No phone? Want to be fit? Do 10 push-ups every morning before breakfast. Discipline becomes effortless when it's part of your story. Chapter 4. Winning the First Battle. The morning your day is won or lost in the first 30 minutes after waking up. This chapter teaches the morning discipline protocol, a step-by-step routine to begin your day with mental momentum. 1. No snooze button. The snooze button is a lie. It trains your brain to delay action and avoid discomfort. Winners get up when the alarm rings. No negotiation. 2. Cold water challenge. Splash cold water on your face or take a cold shower. It shocks the system, increases adrenaline, and starts your day with a small but powerful victory over resistance. 3. Silence before stimulation. No phone, no email, no social media. Instead, sit in silence or journal for 10 minutes. Ask, what kind of person do I want to be today? 4. Move your body discipline thrives when your physiology supports it. Even 10 minutes of movement, push-ups, stretching, walking, awakens the body and prepares the brain for focus. The author repeats this mantra. Discipline begins with how you meet the morning. The first 30 minutes shape the next 15 hours. Chapter 5. The Mental Rewire, Delaying Gratification. One of the greatest predictors of success is the ability to delay gratification. The book reminds us of the famous Stanford marshmallow experiment. Children who could wait for a second marshmallow, rather than eat one immediately, went on to achieve better outcomes in life, relationships, and careers. Why? Because delayed gratification is a muscle. One that, when developed, separates short-term thinkers from long-term builders. The author explains the science behind it. Your brain has 2 systems. System 1 wants pleasure now. System 2 plans for the future. Discipline comes from strengthening System 2, deliberate, reflective decision-making. Practical exercises. 1. The 10-minute rule. When tempted, whether by junk food, social media, or giving up, delay it for 10 minutes. Most impulses fade if you don't feed them. 2. Future self-journaling. Write a letter from your future self. Describe the rewards of staying disciplined for 6 months. Visualize it. Feel it. Discipline becomes easier when the outcome feels real. 3. The reward reversal. Don't reward yourself before doing the hard thing. Reverse it. First action, then reward. Discipline thrives on earned pleasure, not premature dopamine. This chapter reminds us, every act of discipline today compounds into a stronger identity tomorrow. This chapter introduces the Focus Fortress Protocol. Step 1. Build physical boundaries. Work in a clean, distraction-free space. Use noise-canceling headphones or brown noise. Set a deep work timer. 50 minutes work, 10 minutes break. Step 2. Digital detox windows. Choose 1 hour daily to go completely screen-free. Replace scrolling with reading, walking, or reflection. Step 3. Focus warm-ups. Just like your body needs warm-ups before the gym, your mind needs a focus warm-up. Try this. 5-minute breath work or meditation. Write your top 3 goals for the next 90 minutes. Eliminate non-essential tabs or apps. Most importantly, treat focus like a sacred contract. If you can't control your focus, you can't control your future. Chapter 7. Emotions are not commands. 7 minutes. One of the most dangerous myths is the idea that your emotions are facts. They're not. They are data, but not always truth. They're signals, but not always instructions. This chapter is powerful. It shows how people often confuse emotional honesty with emotional obedience. Yes, you're angry, but that doesn't mean you yell. Yes, you're scared, but that doesn't mean you retreat. Yes, you're sad, but that doesn't mean you isolate. Mental discipline means learning to observe emotions without being ruled by them. Emotional training tools. 1. Name it to tame it. Studies show that labeling your emotion reduces its power. Instead of, I'm overwhelmed, say, I'm feeling anxious because of a deadline. Specificity creates clarity, and clarity creates power. 2. Use the emotion ladder. Ask, what's one emotion higher than what I'm feeling now? Example, if you're feeling discouraged, aim for curiosity. What can I learn from this? 3. Create a response gap. Between stimulus and response, insert a breath, insert a pause, insert a reflection. That gap is where discipline lives. The author emphasizes, the most disciplined people are not emotionless, they're emotionally intelligent. They feel deeply, but they act wisely. Chapter 8. The Keystone Habit Framework. Not all habits are created equal. Some habits, called keystone habits, create ripple effects across your entire life. For example, exercising consistently improves sleep, confidence, and decision-making. Journaling daily sharpens your thinking and helps you regulate emotions. Reading 20 minutes a day increases focus and reduces screen time. This chapter helps you build 3 powerful keystone habits that boost discipline. 1. The Power Hour. Spend 60 minutes every morning on you first habits. No phone, no emails, just movement, reflection, learning. This rewires your day from reactive to intentional. 2. The 5-minute reset. Whenever you feel scattered, anxious, or unproductive, stop, breathe, close your eyes for 60 seconds, then ask, what matters most right now? What's one disciplined action I can take next? 3. The nightly self-review. Every night, reflect on, what did I do well today? Where did I give in to distraction or emotion? What will I improve tomorrow? Discipline thrives in review. You don't need to be perfect, you need to be aware. Chapter 9. Voluntary Suffering. Choosing the Hard Path. 7 minutes. The author shares a radical but powerful truth. If you avoid all pain, you avoid all power. In this chapter, he introduces the concept of voluntary suffering. It's not about seeking harm, it's about choosing challenge to build capacity. The modern mind is fragile because it avoids difficulty, but mental toughness is built like muscle through pressure, resistance, and repetition. Practices of voluntary discomfort, cold showers. Uncomfortable? Yes. Dangerous? No. Cold exposure builds shock tolerance and trains your brain to endure discomfort with calm. Even 60 seconds a day builds mental armor. Fasting. Skip 1 meal a week, not for weight loss, but to master hunger. When you learn to sit with hunger, you weaken the mind's addiction to comfort. Silence and solitude. Sit with no music, no screens, no conversation. Let your mind detox from stimulation. The discipline to be alone with your thoughts is rare and powerful. Rejection training. Face fear head-on. Ask for things you expect to be denied. A discount, a conversation, a collaboration. Learn to hear no without shrinking. When you do hard things by choice, you train your mind to stay strong when life gives you no choice. Chapter 10. Anchor your identity. Discipline fades when you forget who you are. That's why the author introduces the tool of identity anchoring. An identity anchor is a sentence you repeat to yourself when you feel like giving up. Examples: I am the kind of person who shows up no matter what. I train my mind like an athlete trains his body. Comfort weakens me. Challenge strengthens me. Post these where you'll see them: your mirror, phone lock screen, journal. Why? Because the brain is story-driven. If you don't write the story, emotion will. You must become your own narrator. You must speak truth louder than fear. Bonus practice. The discipline mirror. Every night, look into the mirror and ask, did I live like a focused, disciplined person today? Where did I let emotion or distraction take control? What will I do differently tomorrow? This is not self-judgment. This is self-command. Chapter 11. Long-term vision versus short-term urges. A disciplined life is always rooted in vision. When you live without vision, short-term urges win. But when you're clear on where you're going, you can endure the cost of the journey. This chapter teaches how to build a long-term mental vision board. Not just images on paper, but a detailed internal movie of the life you're building. Imagine how you wake up, how you move, how you speak, how you show up for family, goals, health, calling. Revisit this vision daily. Visualization practice, 2-3 minutes a day. Close your eyes. Picture yourself doing hard things, waking early, saying no to temptation, pushing through fatigue. Feel the pride that follows. End with this affirmation: this moment trains me for that life. Discipline becomes easier when the reward is visible. Chapter 12. The Disciplined Life Code, 7 minutes. This chapter condenses the philosophy of the book into 12 powerful rules, a code for those who want to master the mind and live with fire. The Disciplined Life Code. Do what's necessary, not what's comfortable. Decide in advance. Don't negotiate with your feelings. Keep the promises you make to yourself. Choose actions that build character, not just results. Treat your mind like a warrior treats his weapon. Sharpen it daily. Train first, reward later. Always. Your identity is earned in silence. Live with integrity, not attention. Simplicity is strength. Complexity is a trap. Every choice is a vote for who you are becoming. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your systems. Comfort is the enemy of greatness. The mind is your The mind is your master or your servant. You choose. Print this code. Read it every morning. These are not suggestions. These are weapons. Chapter 13. Rebuilding after failure, 6 minutes. Even the most disciplined people fall. The difference? They don't stay down. This chapter addresses what to do when you break discipline. You skipped the gym. You binged on junk. You lashed out emotionally. You procrastinated an entire week. The key is not perfection, it's recovery speed. Discipline is not never falling. Discipline is rising every time you do. The 3-step recovery process. Forgive fast. Shame slows you down. Guilt is only useful if it leads to action. Analyze. Honestly, what triggered the break? Was it emotion, fatigue, environment? Recommit publicly. Write down your commitment. Share it with someone. Anchor it in identity again. The book insists the fastest way to get back on track is to take one small disciplined action immediately. Even one push-up, one glass of water, one 10-minute walk restores momentum. Chapter 11. The Power of Silence and Solitude. Silence is not the absence of sound, but the presence of clarity. Mental discipline flourishes in environments that remove distractions and noise. The author emphasizes regular retreats into silence, not necessarily days of meditation in the mountains, but micro-retreats. 5 minutes in the morning, a quiet walk in the evening, or journaling in silence. Solitude allows you to listen to your inner voice without distortion. In silence, your mind learns to sort through clutter. You begin to recognize what thoughts are truly yours and which are echoes of external influences, social media, fear-based news, or limiting beliefs of those around you. The key takeaway? Discipline is amplified by clarity, and clarity is found in silence. Chapter 12. The Trap of Overstimulation. In our modern era, overstimulation is a mental pandemic. We are flooded with dopamine triggers, notifications, entertainment, fast food, and sensational headlines. The brain, constantly rewarded for micro-engagements, loses its ability to focus for prolonged periods. Mental discipline begins with intentional understimulation. This chapter recommends a weekly digital detox day, replacing dopamine-heavy activities with low-stimulation ones like reading, gardening, or journaling. Practicing discomfort without distraction, like waiting in line without checking your phone. Reclaiming boredom is one of the greatest superpowers in the digital age. Why? Because boredom is the birthplace of insight and creativity. Once you retrain your brain to tolerate quiet, your mental discipline begins to sharpen naturally. Chapter 13. The Willpower Bank. The author introduces the concept of willpower as a bank account. Every choice you make, every temptation you resist, either deposits into or withdraws from your account. The more deposits you make with positive habits, the more strength you'll have when hard decisions appear. For instance, going to bed on time, deposit; skipping the gym, withdrawal; keeping your morning routine, deposit; losing your temper, withdrawal. This metaphor helps you visualize your inner reserves. Mental discipline means knowing when you're low on willpower and not overexposing yourself to high-risk temptations. You learn to manage your energy like an elite athlete. Chapter 14. Micro-habits that build iron discipline. The author lists 10 micro-habits that act as the foundation stones of mental discipline. Making your bed every morning, a signal of order; drinking a glass of water before coffee; putting health first; a 2-minute morning meditation; anchoring the mind; daily planning; reclaiming your narrative; reading 10 pages a day; feeding your intellect; cold showers; training discomfort tolerance; walking daily; mental reset; journaling your wins; building momentum; digital sunset; no screens 1 hour before bed; protecting rest; sleep discipline, the master key of recovery. None of these alone will change your life overnight, but consistently done, they rewire your brain for strength, focus, and resilience. Chapter 15. The Inner Coach versus the Inner Critic. We all carry 2 voices, the inner critic and the inner coach. The critic shames, blames, and paralyzes. The coach encourages, challenges, and uplifts. Mental discipline involves choosing which voice you amplify. The author recommends creating a clear script for your inner coach, a personal manifesto that reminds you who you are at your best. You can even record this in your own voice and play it during moments of doubt. By recognizing the critic's voice as a program, not a truth, you begin to disempower it. And by feeding the coach's voice, you grow stronger every day. Chapter 16. Emotional mastery. Mental discipline isn't about avoiding emotion, it's about regulating and understanding them. This chapter covers emotional agility, the ability to name, feel, and choose your response without being hijacked. The author provides an acronym, NAME, notice the emotion. Accept its presence without judgment. Make space. Pause, breathe, engage with intention. When practiced regularly, you learn that no emotion can dominate you without your permission. Anger, sadness, fear, they all become signals rather than shackles. Chapter 17, Mental Discipline in Relationships. Discipline also matters in how you relate to others. This chapter addresses how responding instead of reacting builds trust. Saying no without guilt strengthens your boundaries. Having tough conversations with grace requires mental clarity. Choosing to forgive while not condoning is a deep act of personal power. Discipline is not about rigidity. It's about sovereignty. You choose your words, your silence, your boundaries, and your presence with full awareness. Chapter 18. The Vision. Discipline dreams fade without discipline. The author introduces the concept of vision discipline, the regular act of visualizing your future self, your goals, and your purpose. Every day, you take 2 to 5 minutes to mentally rehearse how you want to show up, what you're building, the person you are becoming. Just as athletes mentally visualize performance before the game, high performers visualize success, emotional control, and graceful recovery from setbacks. When you see your future clearly, you're more likely to act in alignment with it, despite distractions or doubts. Chapter 19. Recovery is discipline. 2. One of the most profound messages of the book is this: rest is not a reward for discipline. It is part of discipline. You don't become stronger by pushing harder. You grow stronger by recovering smarter. Overtraining, mentally or physically, leads to breakdown. This chapter focuses on sleep hygiene, going to bed and waking up at the same time daily, nutritional choices that boost cognition, active recovery, nature walks, stretching, deep breathing, social restoration, being around people who energize, not drain. A disciplined mind honors the rhythms of work and rest equally. Chapter 20. Becoming the master of your mind. The book concludes with a bold invitation. Most people live as slaves to their thoughts. You were meant to be the master. Mastery means your mind serves your values, not your fears. Your attention is guided by intention, not impulse. Your habits support your mission, not your comfort zone. You don't arrive at mental discipline one day. It's a practice, a devotion, a way of living. The author ends with this reflection. Every moment is a rehearsal, every thought is a cue, every choice is a brushstroke on the canvas of who you are becoming. Train your mind, because when your mind is free, you are unstoppable. Part 4. Advanced Strategies to Master the Mind. 16. Mastering Emotional Distance. One of the most difficult but vital elements of mental discipline is cultivating emotional distance from situations that typically trigger impulsive or reactive behavior. Emotional distance doesn't mean suppression, it means control and choice. When someone criticizes you, your instinct may be to react defensively. But the mentally disciplined person evaluates the situation calmly. Is this critique valid? Is this an emotional projection of the other person? Does this deserve a reaction, or is silence more powerful? By delaying reaction and analyzing your feelings with logic, you become less of a slave to others' actions, and more of a master of your own state. 17. The 2-minute rule for discipline. Borrowed from productivity expert David Allen, the 2-minute rule can also be used to strengthen mental discipline. The rule is simple. If something takes less than 2 minutes to do it immediately. This small commitment trains your brain to respond instantly and without hesitation. Over time, it eliminates procrastination and builds a bias toward action. Applying this rule to habits like putting away laundry, sending a follow-up email, saying your morning affirmation reinforces mental and behavioral sharpness. 18. Using mental rehearsal to prime your brain. Athletes and high performers use a technique called mental rehearsal, visualizing themselves succeeding before the event occurs. You too can do this for daily tasks. Imagine a calm and collected you entering a stressful meeting. Visualize handling criticism with poise. Picture completing your tasks with focus and satisfaction. Studies in neuroscience have proven that mental imagery activates similar neural pathways as real action. It's like training your mind in advance for mastery. Part 5. Building mental fortitude. 19. The power of delayed gratification. Discipline is the ability to choose long-term gain over short-term pleasure. The famous Stanford marshmallow experiment demonstrated that children who could delay gratification, wait 15 minutes for 2 marshmallows rather than eating one immediately, went on to have better life outcomes. Mentally disciplined people ask, "What do I want most?" versus "What do I want right now?" They learn to delay that dopamine hit, and in doing so, achieve more over time, whether in fitness, business, or spiritual growth. 20. Set non-negotiables. Non-negotiables are rules you set for yourself that are absolute. They remove decision fatigue. For example, I go to the gym every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, no matter what. I don't check social media before 10 a.m. I journal for 5 minutes every evening. Each time you stick to your non-negotiable, you reinforce the identity of a disciplined person. Discipline isn't about motivation. It's about having clear rules and enforcing them daily. 21. The role of mindfulness. Mindfulness trains the brain to observe rather than react. In moments of stress, mindfulness allows a pause, and in that pause, choice exists. For example, you might notice your heart rate rising in an argument. Observe your urge to procrastinate. Watch a craving for junk food arise. This observation separates you from the impulse, allowing you to act with intention instead of compulsion. Even 5 minutes of meditation daily can increase your prefrontal cortex activity, the area responsible for executive control and decision-making. Part 6. Mental discipline in real life. 22. Relationships. Mental discipline allows you to respond thoughtfully rather than emotionally. In conflict, it helps you. Avoid saying something you'll regret. Listen fully before speaking. Take responsibility instead of blaming. Love, patience, and empathy all require mental control. 23. Work and career. Disciplined people in the workplace show up consistently and early. Focus on deep work rather than shallow tasks. Communicate clearly and respectfully. Mental discipline earns you trust, increases your productivity, and opens up leadership roles because leaders are those who can remain calm under pressure. 24. Physical health. Discipline with the mind supports discipline with the body, eating clean despite cravings, working out when it's inconvenient, sleeping early, even when you want to binge watch a show. Your mental commitment to health goals precedes physical results. Part 7, Long-Term Mastery 25, The Identity Shift. This book emphasizes that true mental discipline comes from seeing yourself differently. You don't try to be disciplined. You say, I am a mentally disciplined person. This shift is subtle but powerful. You begin to make decisions that reflect the identity you've claimed. The more you act that way, the more your self-image and your behavior align. 26. Beware of burnout. Mental discipline is not about perfection. It's about consistency. You will have off days. You will fail at times. What matters is how you respond to failure. Do you bounce back? Do you reflect and course correct? Discipline is not a one-time act. It's a muscle that you develop, stretch, and maintain, day by day, moment by moment. 27. The Daily Practice Formula. To help structure your discipline, the book suggests a daily practice model. Morning, set intentions, avoid distractions, do your hardest task first. Midday, check in with goals, hydrate, practice 2-minute focus resets. Evening, reflect on progress, stretch, visualize tomorrow's success. By committing to a daily practice of self-mastery, discipline becomes automatic. Final reflections. This book will teach you mental discipline. Master Your Mind is more than a motivational read. It's a blueprint for rewiring your brain, changing your behavior, and unlocking a new level of personal power. Whether you're battling laziness, distraction, emotional reactivity, or inconsistent habits, mental discipline is the key to lasting transformation. The truth is simple, but not easy. You either train your mind, or your mind trains you. And every day, every small decision is an opportunity to train it.